The biggest mistake Kristen Bell ever made was cool girling her way into this terrible marriage. She was a victim of the early 2000s cool girl epidemic, and now she is a victim of this horrible, horrible man. The worst part about it is that she has brainwashed herself into not only thinking that their relationship is good, but also trying to normalize it, even play it off as a good romantic thing that her husband said this to her. On their 12th wedding anniversary, I'm sure you all have already seen it and a lot of commentary has been made about it, but I'm here to zoom out a little because the cool girl epidemic, it's gonna come back around, I'm predicting, in about the next 5 to 10 years. I'll get into that, but let's read the post first. She says, "Happy 12th wedding anniversary to the man who once said to me, I would never unalive you. A lot of men have unalived their wives at a certain point. Even though I'm heavily incentivized to unalive you, I never would." To understand why any sane person would think, say, let alone post the entire world something like this, you need to understand that this really was an epidemic of the worst kind in the early 2000s, which is when myself and a lot of other young women were going through their formative years, like their frontal lobe formative years. I can actually trace it back to one exact moment in time, okay? Again, if you're a woman my age, you know exactly what is behind me right now. You don't recognize this beautiful young lady. This is Megan Fox in the first Transformers movie. This was the beginning of the cool girl archetype. Absolutely took the young men in America and probably all over the world by absolute storm. The amount of lockers that had a Megan Fox poster, the teenage boys' rooms that was covered in Megan Fox posters. This sent a very loud and clear message to young women. You need to be more like Megan Fox. Okay? Guys don't want women that are going to make them like chase after them and make them pay on dates and want men to buy them nice things, etc. Unsurprisingly came out right around the Great Recession of the early 2000s and persisted till right about 2015, 2016. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's when we started sort of calling it out more and more. Then there was the movie Gone Girl that absolutely subverted this stereotype and kind of exposed it for what it is, which is really just the other side of the trad wife coin. Let's talk about that. Because as much as they wanted us to pretend like it was, this was not a sign of female liberation or even empowerment. This was another performance for the male gaze. I guess Kristen Bell really made it her mission to become the poster girl for the cool girl. During this time, a lot of young women became convinced that they would become irresistible to men if they just stuck to this performance of not like the other girls. Drinking beer with the guys, laughing at their crass jokes, talking about how hypersexual you are, especially when you're in a relationship, talking about how you're down to have threesomes, do all sorts of taboo things in bed, watch porn while you have sex, all that kind of stuff. When all we have is empowerment, there's always the temptation amongst the marginalized class to become a class traitor. Because really the problem is that not only are we contending against men, and empowerment keeps the patriarchy intact, right? So not only do we have men to contend against, we also have sort of class traitors and women that will operate within that oppressive system in a way that ultimately betrays other women. That was the whole point of the Not Like Other Girls movement. It was to set yourself apart from other women as though you are not in the same oppressed class, as though you can actually approximate yourself to the power of men. And by being just like one of the guys, you can avoid the fate of the wives that men cheat on with the cool girls. And in case you didn't know, I actually have a podcast and we just did a whole episode this week about this very phenomenon. And not enough of you know that I have a podcast. Please go check it out. I'll tag it down here. I'm really hoping you guys will check out the full episode. So where the trad wife says, I'll earn love by serving you, the cool girl says, I'll earn love by being effortless for you. And the danger here is that both of these are just performances around the male gaze and for the ultimate male comfort. at women's expense. It's always at women's expense. And so Kristen Bell definitely came up and became famous around this cool girl era. There was so much media messaging around this, including movies like Something About Mary, the aforementioned Transformers movie. I'm a cool but hot nerd who like eats pizza and drinks beer. That was very much the era that we were living in. So when she first got together with Dax Shepard, everybody, like the media, was eating this up because she made her living off of being like the quirky girl who's just like one of the guys, and everybody loved them together. They loved how real she was and how down to earth she was. Even more so, they loved that Dax Shepard was like this imperfect character. He was deeply flawed. He was kind of chaotic. And the two of them were just like this couple that really met the moment. And Dax's whole archetype was the puzzle piece to the cool girl puzzle piece. Again, culturally, he would be resistant to the relationship. He would be resistant to commitment, resistant to marriage. He's a bad boy that rides motorcycles and has open relationships and all this stuff. This is all factual. Like, I'm not making this up. This is all factual. They dated for 3 years, were engaged for 3 more years before finally getting married. And his commentary on marriage was like, I never want to get married because then what leverage do you have left? So he was very much that bad boy archetype. And Kristen Bell was supposed to be the cool girl that sort of met and like tamed and pacified him, gave him babies, and just became like one of his like appendages, one of his personality traits or whatever. They had a very tumultuous relationship. They talk about it all the time. They in fact have had several like really uncomfortable conversations, podcast episodes or whatever, where it was kind of like, are you guys okay? They're one of those like marriage is really hard couples, but we fight through it every day. We wake up and fight for our marriage, but it's so hard, and like you guys have no idea how hard it is, etc. The conclusion is always, oh, well, you know, it's messy, but it works. It's rough around the edges, but it's like a diamond in the rough. This was supposed to be relatable to a lot of people, and at the time it was, because a lot of women were embracing this cool girl archetype and sort of trying to perform for men that way, and men were taking advantage of that because there was this idea that became normalized that emotional dysregulation and I guess turbulence is kind of the price of passion, the price of happiness, the price of true love. But the quiet part of that is that it's the woman's job to manage it. Once again, just like the trad wife perfects being submissive and sort of calibrates herself to walk on eggshells around a man's like feelings and frustrations, needs and wants, etc., the cool girl does the exact same thing, except for it's presented as chill and not as submission. But they are the same exact thing. You are still never supposed to be too much for the man to handle. You're never supposed to really challenge him on anything. You're never supposed to make him feel like he's not enough. Never supposed to ask him to put forth any effort, really at all. He's just supposed to do whatever he wants, and then you're just supposed to deal with it. That's the trap of the cool girl. It's the same as the trap of the trad wife. You're expected to build your entire identity around being understanding, around being flexible, endlessly patient, endlessly forgiving. This is once again especially dangerous when it comes to men like Dax Shepard, who has no problem saying the quiet part out loud that he's a terrible person and that he's like a work in progress, and he's open about all of his issues and open about never wanting her in the first place, nagging her and all this stuff. And you're supposed to take all that shit on the chin. You're supposed to like sit there and smile and nod along as your husband talks about how he didn't want to cast you in his movies and how he purposely wrote these like weird parts for you that were basically nagging in disguise, or him outing you for wanting to impress him, how he wasn't really even into that. God forbid, a gorgeous, successful woman, one of the most wanted young women of her time, like God forbid she wants to hang out with you, a loser with a slew of issues and bad decisions. But the cool girl mentality tricked women into judging their value based on how they adapt to male volatility. It's another iteration of that's my man and I'm going to stick beside him. I'm going to be there for him through thick and thin. I'm a ride or die. Same exact thing. Cool girl is not actually cool. She's a performance. She exists to garner male validation. And it's interesting how many people are like criticizing this marriage and acting as if it's like uniquely toxic. Meanwhile, we're living in this trad wife moment at the same time, where we talk about divine femininity and your soft girl era and the I'm just a girl. And I don't want to work under a fluorescent light. I don't want to drive to the office every day, etc. Because all of this is a performance for the male gaze. And the reason that it changes, and it seems like this pendulum like keeps swinging every couple years, is because men don't actually know what they want. They just want control over women. Like any time that we get too comfortable actually like liberating ourselves from these roles and demanding not just empowerment but liberation, then just move the goalposts. And they're like, no, if you want love, if you want partnership, you're gonna have to be like this. One side of the coin where you're like sexually liberated and you're into threesomes and you want to drink beer with the guys and you eat corn dogs and whatever. Or we're going to move the goalpost to now we don't want these independent women. We don't want these women with degrees. We don't want the women that try to be like men. We want feminine women, okay? We don't care for your independence. We don't want masculine women. We want feminine women. And women who have been raised with the idea that romance is the most valuable endeavor that they will ever commit themselves to fall for it every single time. The problem really is that these men don't even like themselves. That's why they don't like any version of you. You know, that's why they always take advantage of these women who seemingly like bend over backwards, who already give them too much leeway, who are way out of their league. What they're really afraid of is facing themselves. This is why they hate successful women. This is why they hate submissive women. This is why they hate the cool girls. It doesn't matter. It's because they hate themselves. A lot of these men are actually hopelessly narcissistic. Dax Shepard might actually be a full-blown narcissist. He will take any chance to shit on his wife, to nag her, embarrass her, humiliate her, etc. It's because he feels humiliated just by being next to her. She is everything that he could never be. She's actually effortlessly quirky, effortlessly likable, effortlessly lucky. All of these things fucking piss him off because he is a never-ending work in progress. He just keeps laying all of his burdens on the shoulders of this poor woman. And this is what performing for the male gaze will attract. Narcissistic men. Men who want to see themselves and their desires reflected in women over and over and over again at those women's expense. This is their payback to the fact that cannot and will not be held down by the patriarchy as a whole. Yes, a lot of us succumb to it. Yes, a lot of us are victims of it. Yes, a lot of us pay for the price of the patriarchy with our lives, and yet the vast majority of us have not been broken, ruined, or debased, or made irrelevant by the patriarchy, because the patriarchy actually needs us more than it needs men. It needs our labor, our creativity, our ingenuity, our flexibility, adaptability, cooperation, all of those things. The patriarchy actually doesn't need like anything really from men other than their violence, other than the threat of that. That's why they love to make us perform. They love to put that peer pressure on us of like, you're not cool unless you're this. Men want this, not this. It's about time that we actually become liberated and realize that nobody that wants us to perform in a certain way is actually for us or actually loves us in any way, shape, or form. Anyone who's going to embrace the role of being like your project or someone you have to always walk on eggshells around, like anytime you have a moment of recognition or success or anything, they're just there to remind you that like, you'll never be good enough for me though. That's really how Dax Shepard acts with Kristen Bell. He hates himself and therefore he hates her. That's really all there is to it. Hope this helps. Once again, please check out my podcast. I love y'all. Have a great day. Godspeed. Is
it okay if I say that Dax Shepard is actually scared of CHER in a patriarchal way? I think Kristen has mentioned CHER way too much, more than the usual person who is not gay and who is not very into, CHER in general. Do you understand what I mean? And he knows a pattern as well. I'm sure he does. As as weird and abusive as he may be, and he might be, and he is. Anyway, his fear of CHER is patriarchal. His fear of CHER is that of the fear which the patriarchy has of the matriarchy, because don't forget, CHER is an older woman. She's had very strong feminist opinions since she was young in Hollywood. Watch her old interviews. For what? What do you need a man for? Do you get what I mean? So she's had these opinions, and you know, she's been a smart woman all around, even into her old age. Do you understand what I mean? And our proximity to Kristen Bell now is kind of waking Kristen Bell up a bit, in my opinion, in some way, even though Kristen Bell doesn't know, because why is she arguing with Mel Amlet now? And even in that interview, Kristen Bell is trying to cushion for him. That's the thing. She's a cushion. She's somebody that is always having to, you know, tell everybody it doesn't mean it. She's like the you know, when somebody is a wealthy person is kleptomaniac and there's somebody working behind them to pay for everything or take a list of everything they've taken, exactly what she does, right? And she now has to be like, oh, he's self-deprecating now just to see, like, and I didn't even know, when did he get surgery as well? Like, I just look at him and he looks and he feels like he takes up space. Like, if he walks into a room, that room will suddenly feel claustrophobic. His energy just radiates that. It just, and the way he was looking at CHER, that wasn't just a normal look. They were exchanging energies, and CHER was saying, CHER's energy was saying to his energy that I clock you, and his energy is annoyed because you can't do anything without force as a patriarch. You can't do anything without force as the patriarchy. Sorry, when confronted by the matriarchy, the patriarchy can't do shit without force, without enforcement by other people. And that room was filled with 3 women that knew the truth. Even if Kristen doesn't want to admit it, they all know the truth.
I have 2 things I want to say about this interview, and I think it's something that a lot of people are not saying. Number 1 is that Kristen Bell, you will see the way that she tries to control everyone's emotion. And you only know what I'm talking about if you have been in similar situations. But so Dax says something. He says, you know, who would you like to see her with, CHER? And first of all, my thing with them interviewing CHER is like, she's a legend and this is what you want to talk about? Whatever, I digress. But she is trying to control everyone's emotions, but specifically Dax's emotions. So when Dax asked the question about who would you like to see Kristen with, she goes, oh, like he's just being self-deprecating, almost like, oh, it's actually not that serious. Like, don't worry, don't get him going, please, because I don't want to have to deal with that. And then she talks to CHER and she goes, oh, well, like you haven't thought about that, right? That's not something you've thought about. And CHER, of course, is like, no, I haven't thought about it. But what Kristen is doing in that moment is to say like, okay, well, like it's not that big of a deal. Please don't make it into a big deal because I don't want him to get angry. She's very obviously trying to control the situation, and you can only understand what the consequences of not doing that are unless you've been in that situation. The other thing that I want to say about it, and this is the most important point, I think, is that she's exactly where she wants to be, Kristen Bell. She's exactly where she wants to be. There have been people on this app saying that she has blocked them. They have made comments about it. They are trying to save her. Everyone in Hollywood wants to save her. Everyone in Hollywood and around her and her family are very concerned about her. She's exactly where she wants to be. And if you have ever broken off of a relationship like that, you know how difficult it can be, especially with marriage and kids and everything else. However, it's not impossible, especially with all of the support that she has, but she's exactly where she wants to be. And I want everyone to remember that.
When CHER told Dax Shepard that he had no talent, that was the best part of the interview.
I don't have the talent of either of you guys, so I mean, that part
No, but the truth is,
CHER is so subtle with her shade. I love it. The entire interview, CHER was on 10, if you ask me. But when Dax was like, I don't have no talent like the both of y'all, and CHER was like, well, no. Well, no, you don't, bitch. So She was like, I'm happy you got that part right.
That there is a anti-family message that comes about, that there's a girl with the list on TikTok. She is open to seeing the world as she wishes. I think by the sounds of things, it is a really good idea that she's not a mother, and I'm glad that she's choosing to not have kids. But that tone, that sentiment is like prevalent.
Name drop. I've never listened to this podcast before. I had no idea who these men were before this morning. I just wanted to share because you guys know one of my major stretch goals for 2026 is to be blamed for the declining birth rate by some major right-wing news organization. And this is not that, but we're getting closer. We're getting close. I can taste it. And it's not even 2026 yet.
Hello guys, so if you've watched the video, welcome back to the channel. So guys, with this the matter of Kristen Bell, I've been wanting to talk about it for a while, even before I uploaded the one with Kristen's relationship and also the diary of the CEO. So guys, with the Kristen Bell, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know she was, let's say, married up to about 4 years ago, and come to find out the lady's like married, is it since 2009? I don't know. When has Kristen Bell been married? Let me just search on Google. Kirsten, is it Kristen Bell? Of course, Kristen Bell. There's so many Kirstens in Hollywood. Okay, Kristen Bell. So guys, she's been married since 2013 to Dax Shepard. And I'm not gonna lie, and from other, like for example, I do agree with what the girl from the Matrix, is it the Matrix, I don't know, I do agree with what she says, that he's kind of scared of CHER, or he's scared of CHER, because I've talked about this CHER stuff like time and again. Like, CHER is the one you don't joke with. CHER is the one that has always have these strong feminist views, and I really like that of her. She's the one who's always had this feminist movement at heart. I hope I'm not wrong. I hope she doesn't prove me wrong. But anyway, it's crazy to me how like for example how in a kind of way now news is circulating that she seems to think that Kristen Bell could do better than her now husband, of course, who is Dax Shepard, and they said he even recently had surgery. I really do not understand, and someone was talking, of course, the girl in the video was talking about the cool girls and everything, and how it made her come into this marriage. And I think how maybe he was able to attract her was that sort of a thing where, like there's this very beautiful popular girl who's got her own money and everything, and a guy will act as if she's nothing, as if she's not the girl she thinks she is. He'll act as if he's not interested in her, and while other boys are swooning over her, she goes and picks the man that does not like her at all. He doesn't like her at all. Like, I don't know why, like, these ladies were considered to be very beautiful in Hollywood. Like, I don't know why they are considered as if, like, they don't deserve happiness. I don't know why they don't consider it as a fact that they don't deserve happiness. Like, it's crazy to me. It's the same thing that happened with Kim Kardashian when she went to the to NSL and she was with Pete Davidson, and they said many people was giving her the time of the day because she was Kim Kardashian, and in a kind of way Pete Davidson didn't care she was Kim Kardashian. So like that was how she thought. She somehow actually told Kim Kardashian I mean, somehow Kim Kardashian thought, I'm mixing my words here, somehow Kim Kardashian thought, okay, since he's not going to give me the time of the day, he's worth it. Well, guys, we all know how that story did not turn out. So it's quite crazy to me that that I've never known how problematic I've never known how problematic her husband has always been. I've really never known how problematic her husband has always been. The first time I got introduced to Kristen Bell was the time I watched one series. I don't know what. Wait, let me see. What was the actor she acted as co-star? She co-starred with another famous Hollywood, a very famous Hollywood star. I don't know who is that famous Hollywood star. She actually yes, it was Marty and Janine. Yes, it was Marty and Janine. I actually forgotten Don Cheadle. Yes, guys, Don Cheadle. It was in House of Lies where she collaborated with Don Cheadle. That was the first time I was actually introduced to Kristen Bell, and I thought, oh my God, she is a very beautiful woman. And I said, the person who has her must be really lucky, because she is kind of a talented actress, and she's starred in many movies after that, especially in Netflix movies and everything. And you can see that she's a good actor and knows how to act. But apart from that, that's what I was saying. I said, oh my God, she's really gonna of course, make it in Hollywood. And guys, that was about back in 2016 when the House of Lies ended. That was back in 2016 when House of Lies ended. And I was saying, oh my God, she's really going to make it big in Hollywood. At that time, she started getting more roles. And it's quite sad that this is what has been come of her marriage, and how people could actually look into the marriage and see that every time he has an opportunity, he demeans her. So especially when he gives scenarios that has not happened. I don't know why whenever I want to record a video, I always forget words to use. So he always make up these scenarios. I don't know the word how to call this scenario. I don't know how to word these scenarios, but I'll just say he makes up scenarios and brings them in front of Kristen and says, oh, what if this happens? Does that mean, are you going to forgive me? And now this is where he gaslights her to think cheating is not a big deal. Guys, I don't know what plans or what situations you have in your relationship, or what arrangements you have in your relationship. Let me tell you something, guys. I do believe that marriage was made just for two people. Marriage is meant to be a relationship between two people. And that applies in terms of decision making, in terms of how you share your intimacy. It's always meant to be between two people. That's why we've always noticed that if, for example, and I do believe that people can be monogamous, and I do believe that if you're not monogamous, for me, in my opinion, there's no need getting married. There's just no need getting married if you are not monogamous. That's just the truth. And that is why I don't want to look down on open marriages. But no matter how you try to keep up with open marriages, it just never works. It just never works, guys. Open marriages will just never work. It doesn't matter how long it takes, it never works. Talk about the Candid verses. Candid Burrs when she's filed for divorce about 3 months ago. My goodness, it's been long. So allegedly the rumor was they were in an open relationship, and that right now looks like Todd wanted the woman they were in an open relationship with, and Candy was fast to go before him and take her for herself. And that's why maybe, I don't know, it did not just work out for them. That is the news, allegedly. I do not know if it's true, but that is what the streets are saying, you know. And I pray, well, I don't know if it's true, but that's what people are saying. So it's crazy to it's just crazy to me that he representing the idea of cheating on his wife, and now look, his wife has to be in an awkward position where he manages his emotion, you know. Especially she did it with CHER, with the CHER situation, trying to like negate the peace between the three of them, between CHER, him and her. And he also does it with this imagined scenario about, oh, what if I cheat? Are you gonna do that? Then she says, no, cheating is not a big deal. You know, I've learned how to manage my jealousy. No, girl, that's not jealousy. That's you crying over your heart being broken. Jealousy can be a very positive emotion, and it can also be a negative emotion. Jealousy is a positive emotion in such a way that, like, sometimes it is a very positive emotion, and sometimes it's a negative emotion. That's just how it is. And I think to be fair, there's nothing that will not make me understand that man has not cheated on her multiple times. And since she has just convinced herself and say, you know what, I don't care, it's just my jealousy speaking. No, it's your feelings that's hurting you, and it's alerting you that the situation that you are in is not conducive for you. And it's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me that she will stay in that relationship. But you know what, I'm not even gonna drink a paracetamol over this or whatsoever, because it's none of my business. I'm just here to talk about it, and that's it. And the thing is, as I said, it was 4 years ago that I discovered she was married. It was when she was talking about how she's so blessed with money that she'll go into the shop and buy, and she'll not even look at the prices. It's when she's going through the shopping items that she'll look at the prices. So I was like, wow. I said, wow. So to be fair, the situation is just drowning, you know. It's just to like, it's sad, you know. It's sad. It's very sad. It just goes to show the thing, how people, it just goes to show that that a woman having a bad marriage does not only have to do with that woman being poor, but also that woman being poor in mindset. In short, I would rather be poor and have a rich mindset than be rich and have a poor mindset in terms of abuse. Because even if it's a woman that does not have money, she understands that the situation that she is right now is gonna make her not to be alive before the poverty does. So that's all I've got to say. To be fair, the situation is very sad. I mean, you're talking about a woman who is exposed to the best legal advice, the best knowledge, the best things and everything. But it's her decision if she chooses to be with her husband. You can never talk out, like, how can I put it? You can never advise a woman out of a relationship. I'm telling you, the people whom you put emotional label in saying, oh, come out of that relationship, it's a bad relationship. I'm telling you guys, they are not going to leave. They're even going to tell that person who is being bad to them and say, you want to destroy the relationship. That you want to destroy the relationship. That you want to destroy the relationship. And they'll say, oh, that you are jealous because maybe you're not in a relationship. God helps you if you're not in a relationship. And to be fair, it's okay if I'm not in a relationship. God helps you, because they're going to use you as their pillow talk. I'm telling you, that friend that comes to you every time, cries and saying, he has done that. Guys, they're going to use you as their pillow talk, as their gossip. Like, when a woman is prepared to leave a relationship, or especially women, when a woman is prepared to leave a relationship, guys, you're not even going to know she's left. It's when she's left, that's like relationship, she's settled down, she'll call you and say she's left. And she will never go back. Never, 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 never. And I pray it be the fate of every woman that first I'm related to, and every woman around the world, or every woman around the world. Because, guys, as I've said, you can never talk someone out of a bad relationship. It just can never. The person has to realize themselves that, oh my God, the situation where I am in is not conducive. I don't know the other actress that likes acting all these sultry movies, like on Netflix and HBO. I've forgotten her name. I was surprised when she divorced her musician husband of 26 years. Is it Nicole Kidman? I'm pretty sure it's Nicole Kidman. Guys, people are saying that I'm sure she was the one who was taking care of him because that woman's got money. Let's not pretend as if with all that movies Netflix is not paying her. They say that woman's got mad money. They say she's got mad money and that she was the one taking care of him. It's so sad. It's just sad, honestly. Guys, bye. Thank you for joining. Thanks. Bye.